Chapter 182. The air was especially fresh after the rain, and there was a faint floral scent in the air. A few street lamps gave off a warm glow, and even the night breeze was extremely gentle. Xiangyi wanted to cry, but she tried her best to hold it in. She sounded like she was about to cry. Don't cry. Xiangqi's tone was fierce and his voice was nasal. He sniffled, took out his phone and turned on the camera. You, hurry up and coax me. Xiangyi, big brother is the best in the world? Xiangqi emphasized, third brother is the best in the world. Xiangyi cooperated and recorded a video. Xiangqi was elated. I'll send it to Sangchen and the rest now. The atmosphere between the brother and sister was filled with warmth after they had reconciled. Not long after the message was sent. Xiangyi was curious. Did they reply? Xiangqi took a look and saw that Sangchen had not replied. It was probably because of the time difference or because he was busy with work overseas. Xiangyu had not replied either. He was probably still in an autistic state. However, his second brother, Xiang Li, who he thought was the busiest, had replied. Xiang Li, ha. Xiang Li, smile, smile. Xiang Li, I'm planning to go to the manor tomorrow. Xiang Li, the sun will still rise tomorrow. It's unknown if you can see it. Xiang Qi. He quickly put away his phone and put it in his pocket, not showing Xiangyi the content of his reply. Brother, let me see. Xiangyi whined. What are you looking at? Go to sleep. Xiang Qi put on the airs of an older brother. Well, I have to go back to the studio to work on the new design. Huh? That urgent? Stay for another night? You can leave after breakfast tomorrow. Ah, I want to eat my sister's breakfast. But I have to be alive to eat it. Xiangqi struggled for 2 seconds and made up his mind. You don't have to send me off. I'm leaving. Bye. He plunged into the darkness as if he were being chased by a dog. Xiangyi. The childish third brother was so strange. However, she and third brother had reconciled. Thinking of this, a smile appeared at the corner of the little girl's mouth, and even her footsteps became lighter. In the living room, when Xiangyi came in, she saw Shi Sui fiddling with the projector. The screen was frozen at the beginning of a movie. It looked like a horror movie. Only then did she remember that she had only used the projector a few times since she had bought it a long time ago. You want to watch a movie? Shi Sui looked back and raised her eyebrows. Xiangqi doesn't allow you to call him brother, so you won't? The little girl wanted to change her words, but Shi Sui said casually, it doesn't matter what you call me. Xiangyi, then, how about I call you by your name? Calling him senior was indeed too distant. She was afraid that Shi Sui would mind if she called him Zai Zai. After thinking about it, it seemed that calling him by his name was the most appropriate. Shi Sui's eyelids drooped lazily, and the light reflected on his face gently. In the midst of the light and shadow, he responded with an indiscernible Shi Sui. The little girl's voice was gentle and soft. She had heard this name countless times, but it sounded different when she called it. For some reason, it felt more intimate than when she called him brother. He looked at her from afar. His temperament and expression were as gentle and clear as ever, but there was a touch of affection between his thin eyebrows. Do you want to watch a movie together? He asked. Okay, I'll go get the popcorn. Xiangyi came out with the homemade milk-flavored popcorn. Shi Sui poured 2 glasses of drinks and made goat milk for Xiao Naofu. Xiangyi's brain twitched and she blurted out, aren't we a bit like a family of 3 watching a parent-child movie together? The room went silent for a moment. Chapter 183. An invisible awkwardness pervaded the air. Xiangyi awkwardly corrected herself. I'm telling a joke. Isn't it funny? Shi Sui raised an eyebrow. A cold joke. Fresh out of the oven, should it be considered a hot joke? It sounded more like a cold joke. The girl simply used the wisdom that her brother had taught her. As long as I don't feel awkward, then it's others who feel awkward. She calmly sat down on the sofa and stuffed popcorn into her mouth. Let's start. Shui turned off the lights in the living room and pressed play with the remote control. The room darkened, accompanied by the gloomy scene and terrifying sound effects on the screen. Xiao Naofu desperately burrowed into Xiongyi's arms. Xiongyi raised her hand to hug it, and the little cat whined and rubbed against her collarbone. Suddenly, there was the sound of a chainsaw drilling. Xiao Naofu was so scared that it wanted to bury its head in her chest, but a ruthless hand suddenly appeared behind its neck and lifted it into the air. Meow meow meow. Xiao Naofu kicked its little legs, so scared that its fur stood up. Shui calmly stuffed the little cat into her pajamas pocket. I'll take care of Xiao Naofu, you eat your popcorn first. Xiao Naofu was as timid as a dog. It buried its face in the pajamas pocket and didn't dare to move. Xiongyi, I want to tell a joke again, do you want to hear it? Shui, huh. Xiongyi, the scene just now was a bit like, mother of a child, I'll take care of Xiao Naofu, you eat your popcorn first. Darkness shrouded the man's eyebrows and he seemed to chuckle. His voice was low and magnetic, revealing a languid and seductive energy. When did our sister Yi learn to take advantage of others? Cough cough. Xiongyi choked on her popcorn. Fortunately, Shui handed her a glass of honey lemonade in time. She drank 2 mouthfuls to moisten her throat and pretended to be calm. If you really want to take advantage of others, I'll call you Zai Zai and let you and Xiao Naofu call each other brothers. Xiao Naofu. Meow. This dog of a man doesn't deserve to be called brother of this hoo-hoo. Shui raised her eyebrows. In that case, it's not unfair for me to call you the mother of my child, right? No. I was just spouting nonsense. You don't have to beat around the bush. Shui crossed his long legs and leaned against the sofa leisurely. If you want to take advantage of me, I'll let you take advantage of me. Xiongyi. Why did he feel like he was being teased? The girl took a deep breath. It was probably because she was too excited about reconciling with her brother that she was talking nonsense. Xiongyi stiffly changed the topic. Where is the plot now? Where's the ballet dancer? She had asked casually, thinking that Shui would answer her quickly. She did not expect him to be silent for more than 10 seconds before he said uncertainly, "Did you get your lunchbox?" The next second, the camera panned to the ballerina. Shui. With her by his side, it became extremely difficult to focus on watching the movie. Fortunately, the girl was engrossed in the movie and did not care about his answer at all. As she ate, she became sleepy and her head nodded. It looked like she was about to fall to the other side of the sofa. Shui quietly put his hand on the back of the girl's neck and gently moved her to his shoulder. The girl leaned on his shoulder, sleeping soundly with her eyes closed. His thin lips curled up slightly. Xiao Naofu's cat eyes widened. It felt like this scene was even scarier than the horror movie that was currently playing. This dog of a man actually has such a gentle side? Don't tell me this hoo-hoo is really going to have another father. Ah no, another brother? Chapter 184. Unlike the peaceful days in the manor, a huge wave had been set off on the internet. First, there was a huge reversal of public opinion. Claims about Xiongyi being a seductress and the self-objectification of women were all overturned by netizens. The marketing accounts and fake reviewers were scolded so badly that they began to doubt their lives. Then, the closure of the live stream caused strong dissatisfaction among fans. Complaints and disses were everywhere on the internet. What technical problem is this? It's been so long and they still can't watch the live stream? Let's talk about a conspiracy theory. I feel that the problem with the live stream is not a technical problem at all, but someone's doing. Think about it, the live stream of Two Under One Roof was also shut down several times on the first day, right? Don't talk about traffic problems. The traffic for the premiere of Heartbeat Next Door is not lower than that of Heartbeat. Why is the live stream so peaceful and the internet so stable? Hee, it's obvious that Muyao TV is familiar with this operation. What kind of tricks have they not used before? slandering, exposing black material, creating hype, and hiring fake reviewers. 2 years ago, they plagiarized a small web show and refused to admit it. The director posted on Weibo asking for help from netizens, but in the blink of an eye, his leg was broken. Damn. I was wondering why there were so many posts defaming Xiangyi. I thought that this girl's business skills were a little bad in the past, but it wasn't to the point of being despised by everyone. It turns out that someone deliberately did this. These comments caused a huge uproar. Some fans even went to Muyao TV's official Weibo account and left comments asking for an explanation. The operations department of the official Weibo account approached the public relations department, and after some discussion, they decided to delete the comments. Block users. Remove the trending searches on Weibo. The public relations department had long been used to such operations. The emotions of netizens came and went quickly. How long could the love last? How long could the hate last? As long as they refused to admit it and refused to respond, the netizens would have no evidence and no patience. What could they do to them? However, to everyone's surprise, the official Weibo account's high and mighty attitude of not taking the netizens seriously had successfully angered a large group of people. No way, right? I'm anxious. Delete the post? Can you delete it all? If you don't want people to know, don't do it in the first place. I'm dying of laughter. If you're not guilty, then what is? The love and hate on the internet might not last long. But anger does. It is better to divert than to block, and divert than to lead. Blocking it and suppressing it would result in a backlash. Muyao Satellite TV's official Weibo was flooded with comments. Some people even found out that Chen Mian was the director of Eating Well for All 3 Meals, which would be broadcasted tomorrow. The netizens found a place to vent their emotions. Chen Mian's personal Weibo and the official Weibo of Eating Well for All 3 Meals instantly fell. At the drinking party, Chen Mian enjoyed everyone's toasts proudly. During this time, some people glanced at their phones and began to whisper to the people around them. Within a few minutes, everyone was looking at him strangely. Ha! Why aren't you drinking anymore? Are you looking down on me? Chen Mian was shouting drunkenly when his phone suddenly rang. It was obviously the name of his direct superior. The call was connected, and the boss said concisely, "Xiao Chen, the project Eating Well for 3 Meals has been assigned to someone else. You should rest well for a while." Chen Mian instantly sobered up. His face was as pale as a ghost. "Leader, you can't give up on me like this." The phone was hung up coldly. He wailed, "No." Chapter 185. At the same time. At a research institute. On the outdoor balcony, sparks of light flickered. "Ah, Brother Li, I finally succeeded. My experiment has perfectly extracted the GHE3 enzyme." The chubby boy saw Xiang Li and rushed over excitedly, wanting to give him a big hug. Xiang Li's indifferent movement was comparable to a flash in a game, causing the little fatty to pounce on empty air. The tall man with long legs leaned against the railing, a cigarette in his mouth, looking indifferent and distant. "Congratulations. What's wrong with a hug?" The chubby boy mumbled. "Isn't everyone saying that you don't like girls?" Xiang Li lifted his thin single eyelids, revealing a faint red mole under his eyelid. "Assuming that I like boys, what does that have to do with liking you? Do you think I don't care about looks or IQ?" The chubby boy was speechless. "Thank you, I'm hurt. Brother Li, I heard that you took a leave of absence tomorrow. Are you going home to visit your family?" There were many research maniacs in the research institute, and they might not contact the outside world for months when they were busy with a project. Xiang Li was the most exaggerated. In the past year, he had barely left the research institute. Yeah. At the mention of family, Xiang Li obviously relaxed a lot. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and he smiled a little mischievously. "I'm going home to bully little bunnies." The chubby boy was speechless. What kind of bad taste is this? The next day, Xiangyi slept very soundly. When she woke up, She looked at the alarm clock beside her bed. It was 6:53 a.m. While washing up, the girl suddenly realized something. Wait, wasn't she watching a movie last night? Why was she in her own bed when she woke up? She spat out the mouthwash and sighed. After transmigrating back, her vigilance was getting lower and lower. Ah meow. Xiao Naofu, who was lying on the pillow next to her, opened its eyes and looked at her, humming in a childish voice. It liked to sleep on pillows instead of a cat bed. Xiangyi couldn't do anything about it, so she could only pamper it. Sleep a little longer, I'll make you some chicken and pumpkin rice later. Xiangyi kissed its forehead out of habit, but Xiao Naofu stiffened. Yesterday, that stinky man had also kissed her here. It couldn't even lick its fur. How infuriating! The little kitten rubbed Xiangyi's lips with its paw and meowed miserably. Stupid woman, you're the same as this hoo-hoo. You're not clean anymore. After the morning exercise, Xiangyi made breakfast for the staff. The doorbell rang, and she got up to open the door. The morning fog had yet to disperse, and the surroundings were filled with moist and hazy water vapor. Little Rabbit Farm's Wang Xuanli smiled at Xiangyi and said, Miss Xiangyi, I'm here to deliver some food to you. After knowing that Xiangyi was streaming, he would come over personally to deliver the ingredients every day. He would choose the best and freshest ingredients from Little Rabbit Farm. Thank you, Uncle Wang. Thank you for your hard work. Xiangyi took the basket from his hand and said, Stay for breakfast. Wang Xuanli said, No, there are quite a lot of things to do at the farm. Oh, by the way, it seems that people from the Research Institute are coming over today. I received a notice that the experimental field is going to be inspected or something. I see. Xiangyi nodded. Then I'll have to trouble you to cooperate. As they spoke, the sound of a car horn came from the gate. It was a very rhythmic 3 beeps, no more and no less, as usual. Xiangyi's heart skipped a beat. Looking into the distance, she saw a low-key black car. The muscular bodyguard got out of the car first and opened the door for the person in the back. She received an editor's notice that Sister E is 10 years old would be published after 0:30 tonight. After it was published, each chapter would cost 5 cents, and it would cost about 2 to 3 cents a day to catch up. Those with high VIP status could even get a discount. Writing a book was just like being a staff member at a fried chicken shop, a milk tea shop, and a staff member at a hot and sour noodle shop. It was all a job. Nuanyuan also earned her tuition fees and pocket money through her own hands. She hoped everyone could understand. A little plot trailer, 1. Isn't Second Brother Online good? White Chair Black meets Green Tea Meow and Best Actor. The competition between families is about to start. 2. Sea King. Sister E is online, and there's a bunch of fresh meat in the house. Sure, Ingdi's status is in danger. I'm the male lead. 3. A large-scale face-slapping scene. When it comes to face-slapping, our Sister E will definitely not lose. 4. Throwing sugar at an untimely time. Today, we're all experts. 5. Second brother is here. Can the stubborn big brother be far behind? 6. Sister E drops her disguise and reveals her identity. She's really a Mr. Perfect big brother. Here's the main point, there are more than 20 chapters. degree asterisk. OA Book's first subscription is quite important. If possible, I hope our Sister E can have a full subscription, for all, heart to all the lovely you who accompanied me here. Chapter 186. The sunlight pierced through the clouds and the mist, landing on the man's body. He wore a clean white cotton shirt paired with black trousers. The top 2 buttons of his shirt were unbuttoned, revealing a clean protruding Adam's apple. He pushed his glasses up with his fingers. The skin of his wrist was so fair that it was almost transparent. The light blue veins were faintly discernible. He was thin but not frail. A pair of silver-rimmed glasses rested on his high nose bridge. He exuded a gentle and proper aura. The bodyguard opened the black wrought iron gate for him. The man walked slowly into the manor. Xiangyi took a few steps forward and stopped, hesitating. It was her second brother. Xiang Li. His hand. Was it all right? The man had long legs and big strides. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Xiangyi. But his gaze went past Xiangyi and landed on Wang Xuanli. Are you the person in charge of Little Rabbit Farm? Yes, it's me. You're from the Research Institute? Xiangli nodded, his posture elegant and clear, like a gentle young master from an ancient scholarly family. Xiangyi's face turned pale and she gripped the corner of her clothes tightly. Her brother treated her like air. It turned out that what was worse than indifference was disregard. Wang Xuanli said politely, I'm a bore. I don't know how to say nice things. Thank you for your hard work. Have you had breakfast? Our Miss Yi's cooking is superb. Uncle Wang, take him to Little Rabbit Farm to eat. Xiangyi interrupted Uncle Wang and glanced at Xiang Li's right hand. Upon closer inspection, she saw that it was wrapped in a light-colored wrist guard. She bit her lower lip subconsciously, not daring to meet Xiang Li's eyes at all. She was afraid that she would see blame in her second brother's eyes. She was even more afraid that her second brother would treat her like a stranger. As for breakfast, considering her third and fourth brother's attitudes, her second brother must hate her to the core. How could he eat it? He would probably be annoyed if he even spoke to her. For the first time, Xiangyi ran away. She ran away. Miss Yi. Wang Xuanli scratched his head, puzzled. What's wrong with Miss Yi? She had never made a mistake when it came to etiquette, but her behavior today was very unusual. However, Xiang Li suddenly narrowed his slender eyes, as a glimmer of a black-bellied light flashed past his eyes. He had only experimented for a while, and the answer had already surfaced. As expected, it wasn't that her anymore. Xiangyi stayed in the room until 5 minutes before the start of the live broadcast. Hearing the noise, She Sui turned her head and fixed her gaze on the little girl. Although she was wearing light makeup, he could tell that Xiangyi was trying to hide something. It was a morning that could not be concealed. You don't have a fever today, do you? She Sui asked. Xiangyi answered absent-mindedly. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught a glimpse of Li Jianyu and Xiang Li chatting about something and dancing with joy. Her eyes widened. Sister Yi, come, let me introduce you to a big shot. Li Jianyu waved at her. He helped us a lot. Xiangyi's expression stiffened, and she did not dare to approach at all. Suddenly, She Sui's gentle voice sounded in her ear. Together? Xiangyi thanked him softly and gratefully. Thank you. She Sui ruffled her hair. Not far away, Xiang Li's eyes suddenly flashed under his silver-rimmed glasses. Li Jianyu was as happy as a fool. This is Dr. Xiang, a big scientific researcher who came to Little Rabbit Farm for a business trip. He heard about the attack on our live broadcast and helped us write a security wall program. Scientists these days are really too helpful. Alright, both of you have the same surname, it's really fate. Your ancestors might be from the same family. Chapter 187. Xiangyi's cherry lips parted. She didn't reply. Xiang Li looked at her with a half-smile and reached out his clean and slender hand. Hello. For a moment, Xiangyi thought that her brother had forgiven her. But how was that possible? Second brother's hand was crippled. Xiangyi couldn't help but feel angry when she recalled the information she had received from the investigation. A year ago, the person who possessed her body invited second brother to go rock climbing. She wasn't a professional at all, but she refused to wear any protective gear and insisted on climbing on her own. As a result, she almost fell off the rock wall. It was second brother who saved her. However, in order to save her, he cut his right wrist. The wound went deep into his bone and pressed on his nerves. Although it didn't affect his normal life, he could no longer perform those extremely sophisticated experiments. After the incident, Xiangyi even tried to shirk responsibility and lied that Xiang Li had accidentally injured himself and had nothing to do with her. She had completely broken second brother's heart. The Xiang family didn't believe her one-sided story. They went to check the surveillance footage and found out the truth. They gave her one last chance to confess, but she still lied. After this incident, everyone in the Seong family was utterly disappointed in her. That was why they didn't care about her after she entered the entertainment industry. Seong-yi subconsciously rubbed her hand on her skirt before shaking Seong-li's hand. Her voice trembled as she said, "Hello." Seong-li let go of her hand after shaking it for a moment. He restrained himself and didn't seem to have any problems. However, he frowned slightly. "Why is my sister's hand so cold?" Because of his frown, Seong-yi felt like her heart had been pricked by a needle. She lowered her eyes, her long eyelashes casting a faint shadow on her milky white face. "So, he still hates me." Lee Jianyu was still blabbering heartlessly. Dr. Seong even agreed to be our guest this episode to spread the knowledge of scientific farming. He suddenly felt that his variety show had become much more sophisticated. Seong-yi felt a little happy. If her brother was going to be a guest, didn't that mean she would be able to see him all day? But she soon realized that perhaps her brother didn't want to see her. 2 minutes later. "Teachers, get ready. The live stream is about to begin." The staff members began to move. Seong-yi forced herself to look at the camera. As usual, today's live broadcast began with breakfast on the dining table. Steamed buns, soy milk, bean dregs cakes, tea eggs. Simple home-cooked dishes were cooked with Seong-yi's skillful hands, making them incomparably appetizing. She made 2 kinds of stuffed buns. The meat buns were made from 3 fat and 7 lean pork. She used a processing machine to make minced meat and added scallions, ginger, fennel, and other things to enhance the flavor. The vegetarian buns were made from mushroom and winter bamboo shoots. She added a few drops of sesame oil and it tasted particularly delicious. Even the folds were pinched like a piece of art. They were delicate and white, obediently nestled in the steamer, waiting to be pampered. Soy milk was made by mixing soybeans, rice, peanuts, red dates, and other ingredients. Then, it was ground out bit by bit using the graphite in the small kitchen before being heated. The remaining bean dregs were mixed with a little flour and eggs to make a bean dregs cake. It was crisp and crispy. The tea eggs were stewed overnight and even the egg yolk had become tasty. Paired with a dish of boiled vegetables and a few small plates of pickled vegetables, it was nutritious and heartwarming. Through the live stream camera, it was transmitted to every viewer's screen. "Ah, I'm hit by the delicious food again. I'm crying, I've already had breakfast. I'm hungry again. Clever and deft E. The most beautiful Master Chef E. I support 2 under 1 roof. I support Shui. I support Sister E." With the support of public opinion last night, the atmosphere in the live stream was harmonious and beautiful. Chapter 188. When Seong-li entered the scene, Lee Jianyu acted as the narrator and gave him a simple self-introduction. The live comments: "A 26-year-old PhD student? What kind of divine top student brother is this? Woo-woo. He has such a clean temperament. He has a gentle and scholarly aura and that little red mole. He's so perfect for my taste. He's not a doctor, he's a sniper. Which Seong is he? Seong. Haha, if it's Seong-li, he might be Sister Yi's brother. I'm dying of laughter. Is everyone with the surname Seong her brother? What are you dreaming about in broad daylight? It's none of your business. How much did Muyao TV pay you? Why do you have to be a dog instead of a human?" As long as there were 1 or 2 haters, they would soon be rebuked. Muyao TV was now everyone's public enemy. Of course, they had to defend Seong-yi. At the dining table, Seong-yi held her breath nervously, afraid that her brother wouldn't touch the food she cooked. To her surprise, her brother ate it. His expression was natural and he didn't show any disdain. He even praised her by saying, "It tastes good." Seong-yi thought that her brother might have said that out of social etiquette. Facing the person who ruined his hand, he was still so gentle. Her brother was really great. Little did she know that Xiang Li really just felt that his sister's culinary skills were too good. It's been a long time since I last tasted this delicious. He slowly peeled a tea egg and handed it to Xiangyi. Here for you. Ha. Xiangyi raised her starry eyes, full of disbelief. Seeing that she didn't take it, Xiang Li placed it on a small plate in front of her. He then peeled another one and gave it to Shi Sui. Shi Sui. Thank you. Xiang Li smiled slightly. You're welcome. The pop-up comments instantly exploded. Is there anyone who supports the doctor and Sister E? Don't the doctor and best actor pair make sense? Big bro swordsman is so gentle QAQ, I can't resist such a gentle man. Xiangyi's eyes were filled with surprise. She carefully ate the tea egg, thinking that it was really delicious when peeled by her brother. Even though she knew that her brother was very good at taking care of people, the little girl couldn't help but smile. At this moment, someone suddenly commented in the live stream, F***CK, did any of you see the new news about Xiangyi on Weibo? I'm shocked. Her persona has completely collapsed. At first, there were people who mocked, another water army? I won't see you off. But soon, more and more people posted similar comments, arousing the curiosity of many people. Hence, they opened Weibo. The so-called melon was a long Weibo post posted by a blogger named New Baldy PhD. New Baldy PhD. Old fans who follow me should know that I'm a die-hard fan of Dr. X. As a top expert in biomedicine, he has been involved in many fields, especially in the field of medicine. He's a god among gods. However, he withdrew from the most cutting-edge experimental research a year ago and chose to take the theoretical route instead. I couldn't figure it out no matter how hard I thought about it. It wasn't until recently that I learned that Dr. X was forced to stop his research because his right hand was injured and his nerves were damaged. What shocked me even more was that his hand wasn't injured by accident. It was caused by Xiangyi V. I have the video as evidence. A bright star in the scientific research field has fallen, and a so-called star in the entertainment industry has become extremely popular. It's really magical realism. Alas! How unfortunate! How ironic! Chapter 189. The blogger was usually humorous and witty, and he even had a private message account. He would often post posts about the campus life of some fans, such as weird teachers and weird classmates. He had quite a lot of fans. Hence, when this Weibo post was posted, it immediately became popular. The fans of Two Under One Roof and Xiangyi's fans who rushed over after hearing the news didn't believe it at first, but after watching the video, they all fell silent. The video was taken at an outdoor rock climbing base. It was obvious that Xiangyi wasn't wearing any protective gear and was recklessly climbing with her bare hands. However, she didn't climb very high before she ran out of strength. Just as she was about to fall, Xiang Li quickly climbed up to save her. However, she didn't know if she was scared or nervous, but after she steadied herself, she bumped into Xiang Li. Xiang Li also injured his hand as blood slid down his almost transparent fingertips. It was a ghastly sight. But not only did she not show any concern for Xiang Li, she even complained that her hand was scratched and cried for the emergency doctor to treat her first. Even if Xiang Li was just an ordinary person, the netizens who saw this scene were furious to the extreme, let alone the fact that he was a top medical doctor. I thought Xiang Yi was being defamed by Muyao TV, but it turns out she has a bad character to begin with. Vomit vomit. She bumped into him on purpose, right? Dr. X is a national treasure in scientific research. What is she up to? Is she a spy sent by a foreign country? She cried and asked the doctor to treat her first. I'm so disgusted. How can a person be so selfish? I'm going to save my breath. I just want to ask Xiangyi V, why are you still pretending to be a gentle and intellectual girl? Are you a B***TSH? When the public relations department of Muyao TV saw this Weibo post, they slapped their thighs and exclaimed, "This is like giving a pillow when I'm sleepy." The public relations department bought this Weibo post on the spot and made it a hot search. A stone stirred up 1,000 ripples, and the ripples were monstrous. The video was equivalent to concrete evidence. The fans were all dumbfounded. Not to mention defending Xiangyi, most of them began to waver on whether they should stop being fans. 20 minutes later, the new PhD posted a screenshot of the live stream of Two Under One Roof and wrote a line from Tagore's famous poem, "The world kissed me with pain, and I will repay it with a song." The picture was of Xiang Li peeling an egg for Xiangyi and handing it to her with a smile. This picture successfully caused the netizens' anger to reach its peak. So Xiang Li is Dr. X. Oh my God, how can he still smile at his enemy? Doctor, you have a great and compassionate heart. But she doesn't deserve to eat at the same table as you. Kneeling down isn't enough to make up for it. How can she still have the nerve to pretend that nothing happened? A person who can repay kindness with ingratitude to her savior, a person who is so thick-skinned yet still wants to market herself as a victim. With all due respect, she's trash. Absolute trash. In reality, in a certain high-end apartment, Qin Wanyan scrolled through her phone with a smirk. Thinking of how Xiangyi had dared to suppress her on the red carpet last time, Qin Wanyan's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. That stupid woman has left so many things in my hands. She sneered. You want to be famous? Dream on. You only deserve to be stepped on by me. She clicked on the chat box with Yen Nai and pretended to type, Nai, I didn't expect Xiangyi to do such a thing. I don't think I know her anymore. Ding dong, it was Yen Nai's reply, which was incomparably firm frowny face. I believe her. Chapter 190. Qin Wanyan was speechless. If director Yen hadn't been preparing for a big movie, she wouldn't have bothered to maintain her relationship with Yen Nai. Before, Yen Nai would listen to anything she said. But didn't he just go to the manor to record a show for a day? Why did his attitude towards Xiangyi change completely? Qin Wanyan clenched her teeth and typed, but there's video evidence. Yen Nai, yeah. Qin Wanyan, and there's a technical analysis from the netizens. The video is real and hasn't been edited. She had saved the video immediately after the incident. Qin Wanyan knew better than anyone the authenticity of the video. Yen Nai. Oh. Qin Wanyan. I've already said this much, why is this idiot still so stubborn? Qin Wanyan was conflicted for a long time. She wanted to say something more, but her phone vibrated. It was a WeChat message from Yen Nai. Yen Nai. I believe in my eyes and I believe in Sister Xiangyi's character. Even if she really did something wrong, others can criticize and condemn her. But as Sister Xiangyi's friend, we shouldn't talk about her behind her back. Sister Wanyan, this is the last time I'm calling you Sister Wanyan. I'm just someone who doesn't care about reason. You can scold me if you want. But I know that if you did something wrong, Sister Xiangyi would never come to me and say bad things about you like you are doing now. Qin Wanyan was dumbfounded. How could this be? Yen Nai would rather speak for Xiangyi, the perpetrator, than stand on her side. At the manor, the scheduled guests arrived a little late due to a delayed flight. Today's invited guest was also related to She Sui. He personally went to the entrance to greet her. Li Jianyu motioned for Xiangyi's cameraman to leave. He walked to Xiangyi's side and motioned for her to turn off the microphone. Sister E, is Dr. Xiang's hand injury really related to you? Li Jianyu couldn't bring himself to say it. He stole a glance at Xiang Li. The young doctor was flipping through a book on the open bookshelf. His head was lowered and he looked serious and focused. The girl was silent for 2 seconds before she nodded. Although the soul wasn't hers, there was no way to explain it. Li Jianyu was extremely shocked. After a while, he sighed and patted Xiangyi's shoulder. I'm a few years older than you, so I should be qualified to nag at you. Sister E, I think Dr. Xiang doesn't seem to want to argue with you, but, did you properly apologize? Xiangyi smiled bitterly. I haven't seen him in a long time. Li Jianyu said solemnly, if you did something wrong, the least you should do is apologize. Thank you. I will apologize and make up for it. It's good that you can think that way. Li Jianyu heaved a sigh of relief. You're a good kid who knows how to correct your mistakes. At this moment, Shi Sui came to pick up the guests. Before entering the door, they heard a burst of clear laughter. Oh, this place is really nice. The birds are singing and the flowers are fragrant. The air is good. Old Shang, I told you I was right. Old Shang said helplessly, Madam, slow down. You walk slowly. I'm going to the kitchen to see if there are any leftovers from little Xiangyi. A middle-aged woman took the lead and stepped into the living room. She was born with a pair of smiling eyes. When she saw Xiangyi, she greeted her warmly. Hello, little Xiangyi. Xiangyi rubbed her eyes in disbelief. It was actually her childhood goddess, Yin Zhongxue. Hello, Teacher Yin. She greeted politely. Suddenly, she saw Yin Zhongxue waving at Shi Sui. Son, help Mom see if there's any leftovers. Chapter 191. Xiangyi had heard that Mother Shi had been recuperating overseas due to health reasons. She had never seen her before, so she was stunned. Ms. Yin, is Shi Sui's mother? That can't be right? Shi Sui said helplessly, Mama Yin, are you here to record a show or to eat? Yin Zhongxue said indignantly, Of course I'm here for the food. Shi Sui asked, Can you pay for the food? Pfft. The interaction between the two made many netizens laugh, and for a moment, the comments in the live stream finally returned to normal. Wow! So this episode is Mama Yin. I cry every time I watch, writing a letter to you so far away. Ms. Yin is indeed an experienced actress. Her acting skills are way better than the young actors nowadays. What the hell? Shi Sui's biological mother is here? Is it that exciting? Ha ha ha, let me explain. Mama Yin and Shi Sui have worked together in a movie before. They acted as mother and son, and it was very touching. If you're interested, go watch it. Yin Zhongxue? She's just an auntie who got remarried. What's there to see? Can't the production team invite some guests I know? Knows. I'm slowly typing a question mark. When Ms. Yin was young, she not only won the Best Actress Award in the country, but also won the Best Actress Award at the International Film Awards. Her professional skills are top-notch, and her looks and figure are still on point. What era is it now? She's still using her second marriage to attack women? Seeing the interaction between the two, Xiangyi came to a realization. They probably just worked together before. The young girl silently brought breakfast over. Yin Zhongxue happily dragged her husband to eat. She tried a vegetarian bun first and was instantly amazed. Little Xiangyi, your cooking is superb. Yin Zhongxue was especially good at praising others. This bun should only exist in heaven. It's rare to see it on earth. It's so delicious, I'm not going to leave. Yin Zhongshue's husband, Shang Guang, was a famous calligrapher. He had an elegant and refined personality, and there was a sense of calmness in his body. However, after tasting the steamed buns and bean dregs, he also nodded and praised, These home-cooked dishes have the taste of delicacies. Xiangyi replied with a smile, Teachers, you flatter me. After breakfast, Shi Sui took Yin Zhongxue to visit the garden. Shang Guang was a scholar, so he habitually looked at the bookshelves. Coincidentally, Xiang Li was holding an ancient book. The two of them had similar interests, so they chatted for a while. Xiangyi went to the kitchen to make chicken and pumpkin rice for Xiao Naofu. The image of her all alone was particularly tragic in the live broadcast room. The netizens on Weibo were full of confidence, and they didn't hold back when they attacked. Seeing that B*tch Xiang being isolated, I'm relieved. So satisfying. Don't say that she's pitiful. She deserves it. That B*tch Xiang's only worth is cooking. The production team shouldn't give her any more screen time, just let her be a maid and do odd jobs. Bad comments flooded in like a tide, covering the sky and earth. In a trance, Lee Jianyu felt as if he had returned to the first day of the live stream. At that time, Xiangyi had also been criticized by the entire internet. She had finally managed to turn things around, only to be beaten back into the mud. He had a headache. Even if he was biased towards Xiangyi from a personal perspective, he could only temporarily reduce her screen time and presence. The netizens who had discovered this became even more derisive. Seems like the production team has given up on her. Why aren't the fans of the actress Xiang dancing? And the fans of the untimely CP, why are they so quiet today? Ha ha ha. Can I ask if she's guilty of intentional injury? If she has violated the law, she should be punished by the law. Chapter 192. In the past year, Xiangyi had really left a bad impression on the public. Everyone had already formed an inherent impression of her. Xiangyi's name had long been equated with words such as vase, crybaby, and incompetent. Over the past few days, Xiangyi had indeed gained a group of fans through the red carpet shows of Two Under One Roof and Tomato Entertainment. However, in the face of conclusive evidence, the loyal fans of the CP felt helpless. Not to mention, the haters who entered the scene later had very dirty mouths. At the same time, Eating Well for All 3 Meals was finally able to start broadcasting on time after experiencing the storm of a last-minute change in leadership. In the conference room of Muyao TV, it was rare for the executives to gather. Heartbeat started high and ended low. Even though several guests had their own traffic, it was still difficult to reverse the trend. The conversion rate for new viewers was very low. Hence, Muyao TV was now betting on Eating Well for All 3 Meals. Hello everyone, I'm Zhua Yi. Zhua Yi was over 40 years old, but his body was not fat at all. His muscles were taut, and it was obvious that he worked out regularly. With his wheat-colored skin and handsome facial features, when he smiled, he instantly pulled people back to the most glorious era of martial arts films. Hello, I'm Zhang Yun-er. Snuggling up to him intimately was his wife, Zhang Yun-er. Her voice was unique, clear, and very story-like. It immediately reminded people of her most popular songs from back then. Zhua Yi raised his hand and brushed away the leaves in her hair. The couple looked at each other and Zhua Yi smiled in a simple and honest manner. Zhang Yun-er's eyes curved into crescents as well. The pop-up comments started flooding in. Ah, these two are my youth. This couple has taken good care of themselves. It's not an exaggeration to say that they look 10 to 20 years younger than ordinary people of the same age. Who would have thought that the iron-blooded tough man of the past would now be so silly? Goddess Zhang is even more beautiful than she was back then. She's clearly a woman nourished by love. The memory slaying had worked. Looking at the more than 4 million viewers in the upper right corner, the executives were extremely excited. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's not even the peak of traffic, yet there's such a figure. It's a success. I made the right bet. Someone suddenly asked, what about Two Under One Roof? The two programs had the same positioning and were both broadcasted all day during the weekend. Naturally, the data had to be compared. The staff immediately pulled up the data of Two Under One Roof, and the scene suddenly fell into a dead silence. It was also 9 o'clock in the morning, but the number of viewers for Two Under One Roof was as high as 6 million. The number of viewers was even higher than last night's peak. It was almost comparable to the amount of attention on the day of the premiere. Generally, variety shows were the most popular in the first episode and would slowly decline after that. This was also reflected in Heartbeat. But why was the data of Two Under One Roof so unscientific? And it was getting higher and higher. We've done some analysis on Two Under One Roof. The marketing manager was experienced and went straight to the point. First of all, last night's public opinion brought Two Under One Roof great popularity. Secondly, the injury incident that broke out today. While the netizens were angry, they were also curious about the show. Finally, now that the perpetrator and the victim are on the same show, this natural sense of anticipation is even more attractive than a carefully written script. I'm looking forward to the next development. You can think of it as a TV series. Now that it has reached its climax, it suddenly stopped. Who wouldn't want to continue watching it? Chapter 193. Everyone understood the logic, but they found it hard to accept the reality. The executives patiently watched for half an hour. Zhua Yi and Jiang Yun performed well and had high popularity, so the number of viewers remained stable. However, what Muyao TV wanted wasn't stability. It was popularity. Compared to Two Under One Roof, the numbers were still barely satisfactory. Besides, Zhua Yi and Jiang Yun had received a total of hundreds of millions of yuan in remuneration. After spending so much money, the executives immediately felt indignant that the show was not as popular as they had expected. Had they known earlier, they would have invited a few cheaper guests. Perhaps there would have been more viewers. Change the live stream to Two Under One Roof. I want to see what's so attractive about this variety show, the director ordered in a deep voice. The deputy director sneered. If you had known this would happen, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. She was dressed in a black and white office dress, with exquisite makeup and a strong aura. She looked like a typical career woman. From the beginning, she had been opposed to the practice of plagiarizing the ideas of other shows. However, although she was capable, her connections were mediocre. Recently, she had been deeply involved in factional struggles and had lost most of her voice. Previously, when Li Jianyu was forced to leave, she was the first to try and salvage the situation. After being rejected, she even gave Li Jianyu a lot of pointers. She was happy that Two Under One Roof was becoming more and more popular. That was because the market needed a healthy ecosystem and healthy competition. Unfortunately, now, it had become an era where bad money drove out good money and profits were paramount. In the manner, the guests were divided into two groups. Yin Zhangxue learned how to make kimchi from Xiang Yi, while Shang Guang, Xiang Li, and Shi Sui went to pick fruits to make jam later. Don't use unboiled water and oil when making kimchi. You must use cold water. Xiang Yi explained the steps of making kimchi in a gentle voice. She even wrote down a sticky note and stuck it in a conspicuous place. It served as a reminder and also to avoid missing anything. Yin Zhangxue fell in love with this young lady at first sight, probably because of fate. Before coming, she had read a lot of rumors about Xiang Yi on the internet. She didn't believe them at first, but after seeing the real person, she was even more certain. Because she worked too hard in her early years, she fell ill. The doctor diagnosed that it would be difficult for her to get pregnant in this lifetime, and her ex-husband divorced her because of this. Fortunately, she met Shang Guang. The two of them were very loving, but there were still netizens who made an issue out of her inability to have children. She didn't quite understand why someone would say such nasty words through the screen. Yin Zhangxue sighed. If I hadn't gone into filming and got married early, my daughter might have been as old as you, little Xiang Yi. Xiang Yi's eyelashes fluttered and her eyes were as clear as water. Teacher Yin, do you regret it? Many people have asked me this question, and my answer is still, no regrets. With that, Yin Zhangshue's eyes turned blank. But I'm not sure about the future. She was actually very afraid. She was afraid that one day in the future, she would regret it. Who knows what will happen in the future? The only thing that never changes in this world is change itself. Yin Zhangxue pondered for a moment and said, makes sense. Logic is logic, but humans have never been purely rational creatures. So, Teacher Yin, may I ask if I can give you a hug? The girl's eyes were slightly curved. Bathed in the warm sunlight, they were bright and soft. Yin Zhangxue was stunned for a moment. Then, she took the initiative to hug her. Perhaps, all she needed was a gentle hug from the beginning. Chapter 194. The audience in front of the screen felt touched for some reason. It was another brief hug. However, they somehow felt a sense of healing. I don't know why, but I'm suddenly very touched. I'm crying. Mama Een makes people empathize with her so easily QAQ. Although I know I'm going to get scolded, I still want to say that Xiangyi did something wrong, but at this moment, I feel that she has a very high EQ and is also very warm. Een Zhengxue hasn't had it easy all these years. She gave up her career and got married, but her ex-husband abused her because she couldn't have children. She's really strong to be able to courageously pursue her career and love again. However, no matter how strong a person was, there would always be a soft spot in their hearts. On the other hand, the three men soon picked a few baskets of fruits. "Mr. Shang, would you like to come fishing later? The fish in the pond here are quite plump," Shui asked Shang Guang in a gentle tone. Shang Guang was quite interested in fishing. He nodded and said, "Sure, but do you have fishing rods?" "Yes, we have fishing rods, base station rods, and lure rods," Xiang Li answered casually. In the past, Xiang Yi's grandfather would stay here for a short period of time. Xiang Yi loved fishing, so there was a complete set of fishing equipment at home. Shang Guang thought that he had seen the place where the fishing rods were, so he didn't think much of it. Instead, he said eagerly, "Shall we compete later?" As he spoke, the bamboo basket in Xiang Li's right hand suddenly slipped out of his hand, and the peaches inside rolled onto the ground. His expression didn't change as he calmly switched to holding 2 bamboo baskets in his left hand. Shui looked at Xiang Li's right hand, wanting to say something but hesitated. In the end, she didn't say anything and silently took one of the baskets from his hand. Xiang Li didn't seem to mind, and he was even in the mood to mock himself. "Fortunately, I'm left-handed." However, the netizens watching the live stream were extremely upset. "My heart aches for him. Xiang Yi's hand is more precious than a surgeon's. I'm crying because he can't hold the bamboo basket. It's obvious that he can't do experiments that require more precision. Xiang Yi, when are you going to apologize? Kneeling and kowtowing isn't enough to appease your anger. Why are you still pretending?" Muyao TV. The big screen in the conference room had a bullet screen function, and the angry comments of the netizens could be clearly seen. However, the number of viewers kept rising. While eating well for all 3 meals was still stable at more than 4 million viewers, 2 under one roof had soared to more than 8 million viewers. Soon, it would break through the 10 million mark. 10 million was a dividing line. Xingchen live streaming was famous for its statistics, and all the viewers were real. Compared to the current most popular live streamers, game streamers, and so on, there was only one live streamer who broke the 10 million mark, and that was on the day of the annual shopping festival. "No, we can't let them continue broadcasting like this." The higher-ups were anxious and had all kinds of suggestions. For example, arranging a script for Zhua Yi and Jiang Yun making them quarrel and even threaten to break up to attract attention. But it was quickly rejected. Not enough. Both of them didn't have enough traffic and popularity. "How about I contact that hacker again?" The head of the public relations department asked cautiously. "His skills are good enough, but his fees are quite expensive." The deputy station head's tone was strong as he objected, "Nonsense. We have to have a bottom line. If we resort to such despicable means, what's the difference between us and shameless people? Absolutely not. Contact him." The station head suddenly interrupted her, his eyes cold and cruel. Chapter 195. The deputy director looked at him in disbelief. She thought that Muyao TV was only rotten on the surface, but she didn't expect it to be rotten to the core. The person in charge of the public relations department immediately took action and contacted the mysterious hacker, Chu San, using a specific method. It was said that he was ranked in the top 1% of hackers in the world on Innocence, the largest website for hackers. Chu San got out of bed sleepily with his hair that hadn't been washed for days and began typing code with his eyes still in a daze. It might be difficult for others to hack into a live stream, but for him, who was ranked in the top 1% of hackers in the world, it was just a matter of time. Click. The crisp sound of the last enter key being hit could be heard. The compiled program began to automatically attack Xingchen live stream and locked onto the live stream of 2 Under One Roof. Lines of code flashed like a stream of light, and black and white formed the most beautiful language in the world. Chu San yawned and got ready to go back to sleep. All of a sudden, a large red warning window popped up. Oh! Someone wrote a new security wall? Chu San got excited, and the excitement of being able to spar with an expert surged into his brain. He quickly wrote the attack program, but as he wrote, he realized that something was wrong. Where did Xingchen Livestream find this expert? This code. It's almost beyond my understanding. Chu San gritted his teeth and tried his best. However, the safety wall on the other side was like a tall mountain that he could never surpass. The speed at which he typed on the keyboard went from fast to faster, and then gradually slowed down. In the end, he gave up on the futile struggle. Beep, beep, beep. You have been locked from the inside. Chu San's face turned pale. He had locked onto the live stream of Two Under One Roof at first, but he didn't expect to be counterlocked. Oh no. He immediately began to pack his things and stuffed a few hard drives and a computer into his suitcase. Without taking any clothes or shoes, he opened the door and was about to escape. Several police officers stood outside the door and showed their IDs with stern faces, vaguely revealing the silver light of the handcuffs on their waists. It's over. That was the only thought in Chu San's mind. In the manor. After answering the call, Li Jianyu said into the microphone, I received a notice that a hacker has just attacked our live stream, but fortunately, the hacker has now been brought to justice. We will release a detailed statement on our official Weibo account later. What? Hacker? The netizens in front of the screen were all dumbfounded. After all, this word had only appeared on TV before. It was too far away from real life. A few minutes later, Two Under One Roof's official Weibo account was updated. Two Under One Roof V. Ever since our live stream started, we've been attacked by hackers several times, which is why our live stream is always interrupted. Thank you, Dr. Xiang Li, for writing the security wall program for us. Not only did it successfully block the hacker's attack, but it also tracked the hacker's IP address. Thank you at Ping'an Nanqing for catching the suspect as soon as possible. Thank you for your hard work. In the end, he wanted to say, don't stretch out your hand, otherwise you'll be caught. Competition, please come fair and square, please take a seat yourself, dog head. Once the Weibo post was posted, the netizens were shocked. First, he was surprised. So it was a malicious competition. Secondly, he was surprised. Dr. Xiang was too amazing. More and more people flooded into the live broadcast room. Muyao TV. The higher-ups watched helplessly as the number of viewers of Two in One Room jumped to 9.57 million at a frightening speed. Chapter 196. 10 million was imminent. Unstoppable. Everyone's expression was so ugly that they looked as if they had swallowed a fly. Especially when the head of the public relations department read the Weibo post posted by Two Under One Roof. Instantly, what the hell is going on? Isn't he one of the top 1% hackers in the world? Why is he so vulnerable? Will he rat us out? Everyone was worried. Looking at the ugly faces, the deputy station head sneered, feeling as if he had fed all of his youth to Muyao TV to the dogs. The station head retorted, What are you panicking for? Whoever started it will be responsible. What does it have to do with us? What does it have to do with us? The head of the public relations department's expression changed immediately. She realized that she had been abandoned. When the others heard this, they heaved a sigh of relief. Not only did no one comfort her, but they also looked at her with gloating eyes. It was the look of someone who had found a scapegoat. The head of the public relations department was disheartened. She finally understood the cruelty of the workplace. Dang, our pickles are ready. Yin Jiangxue beamed at the camera, her tone full of accomplishment. She and Xiangyi pickled several jars, including the carrots harvested by the C7 brothers yesterday, as well as beans, cabbage, cucumbers, lettuce, and so on. The pickle water was boiled with water, peppercorns, star anise, cinnamon, bay leaves, old ginger, rock sugar, and other ingredients. After cooling, wild mountain peppers, small rice peppers, and sorghum wine were added, and the vegetables were soaked in. After the water tank at the mouth of the pickle jars was filled with water, the jars were sealed and they quietly waited for time to give them a taste. Xiangyi smiled gently at the side. "Teacher Yin, if you like it, you can bring 2 more jars back. Then I won't stand on ceremony with you." The more Yin Zhangxue looked at Xiangyi, the more satisfied she was. The girl had a good temper, patience, and a sweet tongue. She was so likable. Yin Zhangxue used to hate cooking the most, but today, she was happy with the pickles. "What did you stew in the kitchen? I can smell the medicine." "It's a medicinal cuisine prepared for Dr. Xiang." Xiangyi bit her lips. The girl who was as bright and beautiful as a sunflower seemed to have lost her light. She was so listless that she couldn't lift her spirits. Yin Zhangxue didn't know what happened between Xiang Yi and Xiang Li. She only felt that the little girl was quite pitiful. She touched Xiang Yi's head tenderly and said, "Don't be unhappy, you still look the best when you smile." The live stream room was filled with netizens' sarcastic comments. "What is she pretending for? Her acting skills are quite shameless. Don't, our doctor brother wouldn't dare to drink your medicinal cuisine. Who's going to take responsibility if something goes wrong after drinking it? Chinese medicine is unreliable to begin with, not to mention that B*TCH Xiang and Dr. X have old grudges. Maybe she's hoping for something to happen to Dr. Xiang. When the ambulance arrives, she can ask the doctor to treat the skin on her hand from a year ago." While they were talking, Shui and the others came back with the fish baskets. Xiangyi's eyes met with her brother's in the air, but she timidly avoided his gaze, not daring to look at him at all. Xiang Li frowned. Although he knew a little about medicine, he really couldn't read a girl's mind. Especially his sister. She was clearly back, so why was she still avoiding him? "Hubby, the fish you caught is so big. Is this a carp or a crucian carp?" Yin Zhangxue pointed at the fish basket and asked. She caught a glimpse of a few sneaky figures in the corner of her eye and exclaimed, "Who are those people? They're not thieves, are they?" Everyone looked over and realized that something was wrong. Chapter 197. Seems like they really are thieves. Shang Guang said hesitantly, but what happened next confirmed his and Yin Zhangxue's speculation. The men came out of the chicken coop with several eggs in their hands. One of them even had a clucking chicken in his hand. "Great. They're definitely thieves." Li Jianyu hurriedly said, "Everyone be careful, don't go forward rashly. Be careful, they might have knives or something. I'll call 11. Before he could finish his sentence, a fair and slender girl not far away ran over quickly as if she was stepping on the wind. Li Jianyu's eyes widened as he silently complained in his heart. "Sister," he said, "you don't know martial arts. What else could this be if not Qing Gong? The netizens in the stream? Let's not talk about anything else, the Xiang actress is running a bit fast. So what if she runs fast? She's alone, can she beat the thieves? But then again, these thieves are a bit arrogant, stealing chickens in broad daylight. This chicken is so fragrant. Ah, so fat." Yin Zhangxue panicked and shouted, "Little Xiangyi, stop. Don't be impulsive. They have more people." The next second, she grabbed her husband's fishing rod and rushed forward. Shang Guang, as expected of my wife. He helplessly followed, not forgetting to grab a fishing rod. A gentleman uses his mouth, not his fists. But he can use his weapon. The netizens? Is it okay for the husband and wife to attack together? Shui and Xiang Li also strode forward. The scene was completely chaotic. The cameraman and lighting technician all followed, while the other crew members also grabbed wooden sticks and shovels. Some even grabbed ropes. By the time they arrived, 4 thieves were lying on the ground, and the last one was easily blocked by Xiangyi. The 2 sides were in a stalemate. Everyone, for some reason, they felt like their presence was unnecessary. Xiangyi's face was cold. "Why did you steal?" In front of her was a teenager. His hair was shaved very short, and there were a few new and old wounds on his forehead and face. He was like the most difficult person to control, and the corners of his mouth curved into a wanton arc. If you want to steal, then steal. Do you need a reason? At most, I'll just return it to you. When the youths on the ground heard this, they laughed and took out eggs from their pockets and threw them on the ground. Pa, pa, pa! The egg hit the cobblestone path and broke into pieces. The egg white and yolk flowed all over the ground. It was so quiet that only the sound of the wind could be heard. However, there was a heated discussion in the live stream. Are you kidding me? They are all hooligans. They don't look like poor kids from the way they're dressed. It's so infuriating to deliberately ruin the food. DBQ, let me digress. The guy leading the group is a little handsome. The campus gang leaders in novels all have faces now. Xiangyi frowned and her eyes fell on the young man. She slowly pulled out the shirt tie hidden in his coat and tightened it. The young man was forced to lean forward and the distance between them was shortened. The young man's heart skipped a beat. Right in front of him was an extremely beautiful face. Her skin was as white as porcelain, and her eyes were as cold as the stars. Plop! The young man's Adam's apple bobbed slightly as he said fiercely and arrogantly, "Let go of me." Xiangyi raised her eyebrows. "Little kid, let go of my chicken first." Under everyone's watchful eyes, the girl calmly snatched her chicken from his hand and put it back into the chicken coop. "Now, we can start settling the score." Chapter 198. There was a moment of silence. The rebellious teenager said carelessly, "I don't have money, I can't afford it." The other boys also expressed that they were penniless. Seeing that they were all quite young, Yin Zhengxue couldn't bear it. "Why don't we just forget it? It's just a few eggs anyway, they're not worth much. We can't just let it go." Xiangyi took out her phone and asked without looking up, "What's your guardian's phone number?" The comments began to scold. "It's just a few eggs, is it worth it? The child is still young, must she be so calculative? She's always bragging about being fair, rich, and beautiful. Why would she care about such a small amount of money? It's probably because she's stingy enough that she can become rich. B*TCH Xiang is really outrageous. I know this kid, he's the son of our company's boss. Why would he steal? No, I have to tell our boss quickly." The rebellious teenager's body stiffened before he said stiffly, "I don't remember." "Your teacher's phone number? I dropped out of school." Xiangyi looked up and stared at him for a while. The teenager felt inexplicably guilty under her gaze, and he felt that her calm eyes had already seen through all their plans. Xiangyi put away her phone. "Then stay and work, pay off your debts with your labor." The teenager was stunned and said, "You're illegally using child labor. Yet you still trespassed into other people's homes and destroyed other people's property, causing me huge losses." Xiangyi said indifferently. The benefits of having a lawyer as a brother were evident as she could casually use legal terms. The teenager was speechless for a while. What's a few eggs considered a huge loss? Why didn't this woman call the police? Have you forgotten about that chicken? What you're doing is considered attempted harm. The boys were rendered speechless and were ordered to clean the chicken coop by Xiangyi in a daze. The girl avoided the camera and gestured to Li Jianyu. The two went to the side to talk. "Please find 2 people to get some information from. I suspect these kids have other motives." "Huh? Aren't they just a bunch of naughty kids?" Xiangyi shook her head. "My intuition. They seem to want me to call the police, but if I do, they'll have a criminal record. Burglary was against the law." Li Jianyu was stunned. "What kind of operation is this? You want to go to the police station for a day trip? Were all kids nowadays so careless? If he really left behind a criminal record, it would be a stain for life. I'll let old Li and old Wang go. They're old foxes. It's not a problem for them to deal with a few brats." Under the pavilion, the guests were making jam together. Shui was in charge of washing the fruits, Shangguang and Xiangli were in charge of peeling and removing the seeds, Yin Zhengxue was in charge of soaking them in salt water, and Xiangyi was in charge of boiling the jam. Yin Zhengxue smiled and said, "We're basically the assembly line of the two under one roof jam production, right? Natural, organic, handmade. If you want to buy it, hurry up. Here, director, give me the link." 54,321. Li Jianyu wailed behind the camera, "Teacher Yin, how can you cheat people like this? Where can I get the link for you?" Laughter filled the air, and the atmosphere was harmonious. The live stream viewers were also praising Yin Zhengxue. Although she was a senior, she was very humorous. Just then, there was a sudden rush of a car horn at the door. Beep, beep, beep. A mystery guest? Yin Zhengxue asked in confusion. The program team's staff members were confused. They didn't invite anyone else. The crisp sound of high heels stepping on the stone floor could be heard from afar, and a woman dressed like a rich lady appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 199. Her makeup was decent, and her simple black dress was of high quality. Gathering her silk shawl, she looked around and said in a haughty tone, "You're filming a show? I order you, no scenes of me are allowed in the post-production, or you'll have to bear the consequences." When she arrived, she only knew that her son was at Little Rabbit Farm and didn't know that there was a live broadcast here. "Everyone in the show?" "Who are you, ma'am?" The audience in the live broadcast room was much more direct. "Teske, what arrogance. Does she not even know that this is a live broadcast? Such a strong sense of superiority, it's obvious that she's been putting on airs a lot." Xiangyi slowly stood up. "Ma'am, what can I do for you? This is my home. Isn't it a bit inappropriate for you to barge in without saying hello? Please find someone qualified to talk to me." The rich woman interrupted her rudely. Xiangyi raised her eyebrows and crossed her arms, wondering if she should get the security to throw her out. Li Jianyu motioned for the cameraman to move the camera away and said tactfully, "Ma'am, we're just—" "You're the director? Then you should be the person with the most authority here." "That's good. I don't like dealing with those entertainers anyway." The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became extremely cold. Li Jianyu frowned. "Ma'am, please pay attention to your words. Being an entertainer is also a job. Everyone is born equal." The rich woman rolled her eyes in disdain and didn't want to argue with him on this topic anymore. She got straight to the point. "Where's my son? I want to see him." At this time, the brats finally finished cleaning the chicken coop and were carried over by Lao Wang, the planner. He had just gotten some information and felt that the situation was more serious than he had imagined. It probably wouldn't be easy to solve. The rich woman saw her son at a glance and exclaimed, "Rong, how did you get the wound on your face?" When the troublemaker saw her, his expression suddenly changed and he turned to leave, only to hear his mother screaming, "He just took a few rotten eggs. Do you know who my husband is?" "How dare you hit my son?" Xiangyi said calmly, "Let me correct you. First, his injury wasn't caused by us. Second, we don't care who your husband is. Third, taking without asking is called stealing. They are not taking, they are stealing." The young girl's logic was clear, reasonable, and convincing. The rich lady, on the other hand, was like a shrew. "What do you mean by stealing? These kids are just under too much pressure from studying. How about this? I'll pay you and let them come here regularly to relieve their stress. Name your price." She had heard this move from the rich ladies in the circle. Children were under a lot of pressure, so what was wrong with taking something? They just had to pay a small fee to the stationery store or the convenience store afterwards. Even the owners of those shops welcomed the children. Xiangyi's worldview was greatly impacted. She asked, "You mean, you pay these children to steal things?" "I already said it's to relieve stress. Don't you understand human language? Why do you keep saying, steal? Why are your words so unpleasant?" The thorn-headed youth looked at his mother coldly. The other youths had numb expressions on their faces, as if they were used to this. Their family members had also settled things the same way. Yin Zhangxue, who had endured for a long time, said angrily, "As a mother, why don't you think about how to teach your children well? Why do you use such an unorthodox method to solve problems?" The rich lady glanced over. She also watched movies and recognized Yin Zhangxue. She sneered, "I was wondering who it was. So it's a hen that can't lay eggs. What right do you have to talk about others?" Chapter 200. Hearing the words, "hen that can't lay eggs," Yin Zhongshue's face turned pale. As the saying goes, don't hit someone in the face, and don't expose their shortcomings. This sentence was the most hurtful to Yin Zhongxue. The netizens watching the live stream were also furious. Where did this shrew come from? I really want to slap her across the screen. Teacher Yin can't give birth even if she wants to. She's already in so much pain, yet she still wants to expose her scars. I'm so angry. Mother Yin loves children so much. She dotes on Shi Sui like her own son, but she ended up being scolded by this crazy woman. I feel so sorry for her. Shang Guang immediately hugged Yin Zhongxue and comforted her softly. Yin Zhongshue's eyes turned red. However, the rich woman was not ashamed and instead felt proud. You're jealous of others because you can't give birth. I can educate my son however I want, but it's not up to you to criticize him. Enough. The rebellious young man suddenly hollered and looked at Xiongyi coldly. What did you say just now? Trespassing into someone else's home? She's already committed a crime. Aren't you going to call the police? The rich woman was dumbfounded. Rong, what are you talking about? I'm your mother. How can you let an outsider call the police and arrest your biological mother? Rong Huai clenched his jaw and turned away to avoid looking at her. Xiongyi frowned, and the strange feeling in her heart grew stronger. Lao Wang, the planner, came to her side and whispered everything to her. Xiongyi pondered for a few seconds and said, "Forget it, it's just a few eggs. I don't really care. Besides, you've already cleaned the chicken coop as compensation. Take care, I won't send you off." The production crew was dumbfounded. How could she just let it go like that? The netizens also expressed their displeasure. The actress Yang is just bullying the weak and fearing the strong. She probably thinks that this rich woman's family is rich, so she doesn't dare to go against her. What a coward. But all of a sudden, the young girl's tone changed. You guys are from Mingxi Boys High School nearby, right? Today is the homecoming day. I'll send you back to school and each of you will write a self-reflection in front of the form teacher. The rich woman yelled, "Didn't you say that you don't care? Why are you writing a self-reflection?" The youths were extremely excited. Rong Huai's Adam's apple bobbed as he suppressed his emotions and pretended to be nonchalant. Sure, send us there then. Xiongyi said, I'll get the car. We've been together for so many years. One car isn't enough for you. The girl said calmly, Don't worry, I can fit you. It's a convertible. Rong Huai muttered in his heart, Could it be a convertible sports car? A few minutes later, everyone looked at the convertible tractor that Xiongyi borrowed from Little Rabbit Farm and fell into a mysterious silence. The corners of Rong Huai's mouth twitched. Why does such a beautiful sister drive a tractor? What are you waiting for? I have a tractor license, Xiongyi said calmly. Rong Huai got into the car expressionlessly. The other children followed. The lady said, Allow you to come down. How can you sit in this kind of car? Rong Huai said coldly, I just want to sit here. Aren't you busy? Anyway, there are teachers in school. You can leave now. Hearing this, the lady hesitated. She did have an afternoon tea salon to attend. Besides, the management of Mingxi Boys High School was very strict. As long as she was sent to school, there was nothing to worry about. At the thought of this, she took out her mobile phone and transferred some pocket money to Rong Huai. Rong, you have to listen to the teachers when you go to school, okay? I still have something to do, so I'll get going first. Send me a text message when you reach school. Staring at her back view, Rong Hui smirked sarcastically. Chapter 201. In her heart, her son would never be the number one priority. Xiangyi was about to set off when a tall figure suddenly appeared beside her, accompanied by a man's deep and magnetic voice. Let's go together. She turned her face to the side and realized that it was Shi Sui. Naturally, she sat on her left. The driver's seat of the tractor was very spacious, so it was fine for one person to sit. However, the young lady felt that something was amiss. Before he had time to think about it, another gentle and clear voice sounded, I want to go too. Xiangli sat calmly on his sister's right. Huh? Brother wants to go too? It was fine for two people to sit in the driver's seat, but it would inevitably be a little crowded with three people. The slender girl was sandwiched in the middle like a vegetable leaf in a sandwich. Everyone was dumbfounded. The netizens were dumbfounded. What kind of operation is this? Could it be that the tractor is very attractive to Prince Charming? This scene is so funny. Is this a lifestyle variety show or a comedy variety show? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As long as you have a tractor, you can have 6 men. I'm going to order a tractor now. The production team drove another car and followed them to film. Li Jianyu teased, we're considered to be filming an outdoor scene. Guys, give us some 666. Because this segment was too entertaining, there were fewer comments scolding Xiang Yi. In the beginning, Rong Hui and the rest were still a little nervous for fear that the tractor would be bumpy. To their surprise, the pretty girl was indeed someone with a driving license for agricultural machinery. Not only did she look ethereal when driving the tractor, but she was also very proficient at it. The tractor drove steadily on the road. Soon, they arrived at Mingxi Boys High School. Xiangyi had heard of this school before. It was a very strict private high school, and there were rumors that going there for a few months was more effective than going to Transfiguration. Many wealthy and middle-class people in South City liked to send their children to this school in the name of training. It was said that the children who graduated from this school were very outstanding and self-disciplined. They were like geniuses. Xiangyi turned around and asked, This is the place, right? The boys remained silent. After a while, Rong Hui gritted his teeth and said softly, Yes. In order to sharpen his acting skills, Shi Sui had once studied a series of micro-expressions. He was keenly aware of the abnormalities of the teenagers. He exchanged a glance with Xiang Li and reached a consensus through eye contact. There was something wrong with this school. Seeing the car at the school gate, someone from the security booth immediately came out with a stun baton in his hand and shouted, Are you the students' parents? Didn't I tell you that cars are not allowed to drive to the school? Students have to walk from Bo Shui Road. Xiangyi frowns almost imperceptibly. Bo Shui Road is at least a few kilometers away from here. How can he walk here on such a hot day? Was this reasonable? That's not right. Why did you bring a camera? The security guard saw the camera equipment in the car next to them and his facial muscles twitched. Turn it off. Hurry up and close it. Otherwise, I'll smash it. This is illegal filming. Li Jianyu got out of the car and negotiated in a friendly manner. You guys, we are a variety show. May I ask if we can go in and record? It won't take long. The security guard objected anxiously. No. You must leave immediately. Otherwise, we'll call the police. Before he could finish speaking, a thin and tall figure appeared on the rooftop. He was so shaky that it made one panic. Chapter 202. Li Jianyu got a great shock and exclaimed, There's a child over there. The netizens in the live stream were also shocked. Is he going to commit suicide? This is so scary. Quick, think of something. Oh my God, how did this happen? I always thought that committing suicide was a distant concept. The security officer turned around and said in a tone that he was used to it, Hey, That's just the students playing around. Hurry up and leave. Li Jianyu's temper flared up. He was usually a coward, but he had a bottom line. He hollered angrily, "Are you human? Playing around? Do you think this is a matter of life and death? Our school will take care of it. You people don't have to worry about it." The security officer threatened. I said, "No filming." He waved the electric baton in his hand and was about to hit the camera. The cameraman, old Zhang, was very experienced. Although he was carrying heavy equipment and was a little plump, he was very agile and nimble. He dodged the attack. The screens of the audience began to shake violently. I'm so immersed in this scene, I'm starting to get nervous. Director, you're right. How can you joke about a human life? Mingxi Boys High School? I think I've heard of this school before. It's very strict. The kind where the students can't bear the burden. At the side, Xiangyi had already called the police. She briefly explained the situation and asked the negotiator to come over immediately. The security officer was furious. Do you have nothing better to do? It's none of your business. It's just a human life. Xiangyi laughed in exasperation. She slowly stepped forward with a domineering aura. The security officer subconsciously wanted to hit her, but she easily grabbed the electric baton and snatched it away. It's just a human life? Don't you have any respect for life at all? The security officer immediately cowered and hurriedly retreated. Behind her, Ronghuai suddenly said, "It's probably because I'm used to it." Don't spout nonsense. Hurry up and enter the school. Don't mix with these strange people. What should I do? I'm a rebellious person, but I don't want to do as you wish. Ronghuai licked the corner of his lips and said in a nasty and ruffian manner, "Sister, he looks so fierce. I'm scared." The young man tugged at the corner of Xiangyi's shirt and complained openly. The other boys also realized that Xiangyi was very reliable. They were like little chicks in the game Eagle Catch Chicks. One of them grabbed the clothes of the other and hid behind Xiangyi. It felt like a naughty child had found a backer. She Sui narrowed her eyes slightly. Xiang Li was also unhappy. The two men had the same thought in their hearts. Little brats and what not are really annoying. The negotiators arrived as fast as they could. With the police leading the way, the security guards didn't dare to stop them this time. Xiangyi and the others also entered the school. The principal hurried out of the office and said in a dignified manner, This is a misunderstanding. It's like this, our school held an art exhibition some time ago, and this student was imitating performance art. He was used to brainwashing the parents of the students, thinking that the whole world would believe him. Unfortunately, no one paid any attention to him. Are you reporters? Which unit are you from? The principal broke out in cold sweat. Why don't you turn off this equipment first? You have to apply for an interview first. Ronghuai stuck half of his face out from behind Xiangyi and stared straight at the principal, seemingly provoking and relieved. It's not an interview, it's a live stream. A live stream that millions of people can watch. Chapter 203. Boom. There was a thunderous roar and the principal froze on the spot as if he had been electrocuted. He immediately reacted and blocked the camera with his hand, exasperated. How can you live stream? Turn it off. Turn it off immediately. However, it was too late. The netizens in the live stream condemned. What kind of performance art is this? They're treating human lives like dirt. I feel like this school must be hiding some secrets. We must investigate. That Rong just said that it's nothing strange, but it's terrifying when you think about it. Does this kind of thing happen often? Under the efforts of the negotiators, the child on the rooftop was persuaded to come down. His face was pale and he looked extremely weak, but his mental state seemed to be normal. However, the moment he saw the principal, his body began to tremble uncontrollably. He was as helpless as a broken petal in the storm. It was fear that came from the depths of his soul. Boo-hoo. He subconsciously wanted to run towards the rooftop, but fortunately, he was stopped. Rong Huai watched this scene coldly, seemingly indifferent. However, his hands hanging by his side slowly clenched into fists. "Sister," he called out to Xiongyi in a teasing tone. "Are there many people watching your live stream? Are there 100,000 viewers?" Xiongyi said, "I don't know, there should be." She had never paid attention to the statistics of two under one roof, and had no idea at all. "Wow, that's very influential." Rong Huai casually placed his elbow on Xiongyi's shoulder, but he knew his limits and did not put his entire body weight on it. However, this action seemed very roguish. Before Xiongyi could speak, two cold male voices sounded in unison. "Take your hand away. Don't you want your hand anymore?" The two men had a strong aura and their gazes were extremely oppressive. Rong Huai was a wolf cub who could easily deal with his peers, but he instinctively sensed danger when facing them. He retracted his hand resentfully and asked in a low voice, "Sister, you have two boyfriends? Do you mind if there's one more?" Xiongyi said, "Kid, you're asking for a beating." Rong Huai said, "Sister, can't I think about it?" Xiongyi raised her eyebrows slightly, and the coldness in her eyes made Rong Huai's heart palpitate. The little wolf cub's Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed his saliva. "Sister, I'm good. I won't think about it anymore. Don't you think it's a little strange?" Li Jianyu scratched his head. "It's an indescribable feeling." Xiongli looked around and said slowly, "Sound." Li Jianyu's eyes lit up. That was right. It was a sound. Since it was homecoming day, there should be a lot of people in the school. However, other than Rong Huai and the other children, the campus was empty. Moreover, even though such a big thing had happened, there was not a single student in the corridor or by the window who came out to watch the show. Even the boys who went to steal the eggs with Rong Huai did not seem surprised at all. Their expressions were so numb that they seemed to have lost their souls. Rong Huai walked in front of the camera. His face was extremely photogenic, and when he smiled at the camera, he looked frivolous and dashing. "Because if you make a sound, you'll be locked in the little black room." The principal roared, "Shut up. Don't spout nonsense. There's something wrong with his brain. Don't believe what he says." Rong Huai tilted his head, and the scars on his face intertwined. His smile gradually faded, and he looked like a sickly teenager. "What should we do? I seem to like being a mental patient." Chapter 204. The pop-up comments flooded in like a wave. "Ah, his features determine my values. I love sick people the most. I love this brother. Am I the only one who thinks that Rong Rong is very tough? The principal obviously has a problem. I'm envious of his defiant character. I'm the kind of person who doesn't dare to argue with someone who cuts in line." Countless comments flooded the screen. At the same time, Muyao TV. Everyone could only watch as the number of viewers of Two Under One Roof continued to rise. 9. 73 million. 9. 85 million. 9,990,000. The numbers jumped again, the first digit became 1. The number of viewers of Two Under One Roof had officially exceeded 10 million. The record for the entire internet was born. Countless people pressed the screenshot button at this moment. There were also countless people who were paying attention to Mingxi Boys High School. The investigation began. Rong Huai brought the police to the so-called small dark room. It was indeed a dark room. "If you make a mistake, you'll be punished by standing here." Rong Huai put his hands in his pockets and said in a mischievous tone, "Of course, even if you don't make a mistake, you might still be arrested." Apart from the small dark room, there were also weighted sandbags, which were not used for training but for punishment. The teachers' offices were equipped with electric batons like the ones in the hands of the security guards. There were too many of them. There were too many to mention. Rong Huai's cynical mockery, coupled with the live-stream footage, was simply shocking. Is this considered a school? Or a prison? F*CK, are they still human? They're running 5 kilometers at every turn and dousing people with water in the middle of winter. All personal items are confiscated when entering the school, and even their cell phones have to be handed over to the teachers. Even the text messages to their parents are edited by the teachers? Don't the students have any right to privacy at all? The principal tried to quibble. We're imitating foreign elite schools and implementing militarized management and gentlemanly education. The students who graduate from here are especially outstanding. Shui suddenly asked, what about those who haven't graduated? The principal choked. The answer was self-evident. Children who could endure such a hellish and cruel education were naturally favored by the heavens. What was unbearable was that after being ravaged like this for so many years, his physical and mental health would definitely be severely damaged. This shows that some students are mentally fragile. Children nowadays are too sensitive and pretentious. That's why they're addicted to playing mobile games. Our school is helping them get on the right track in life. Shut up. Li Jianyu roared. Can you be a human? How painful must it be for the children to be tortured by you every day? How sad would the child's parents be if they knew what you did? It was quiet all around. Li Jianyu seemed to have realized something and turned to look at Rong Huai and the other youths. Their faces finally showed some expression. However, it was not joy. The corners of his mouth were full of bitterness and helplessness. Li Jianyu felt his scalp go numb. He couldn't believe it, but he had no choice but to believe it. The parents were all aware of this. The comments in the live stream exploded to the extreme. If there's a need, there's a market. Think about it carefully. Oh my God, how desperate must these children be? She doesn't want to spend time with her child, but she's willing to pay someone to beat her child. So the parents are all aware? They clearly know that the school will punish them, but they still sent their child here. In the oppressive and gloomy atmosphere, the girl's sweet and gentle voice sounded slowly like the sound of nature. It's almost time for dinner. Children, are you hungry? There may be more updates coming one after another. Everyone can go to sleep first. Warm, warm, warm again. Red heart. I'm begging for votes. Chapter 205. Rong Huai and the others were stunned. This question caught them off guard. It seemed that no one in school or at home had cared about them so much for a long time. They were children who had been labeled as a disgrace. They were sent here for being rebellious, disobedient, and addicted to the internet, and were strictly managed. Apart from this cage, there was no place for them to hide and lick their wounds. They were most afraid of sudden concern because it was too confusing. Xiangyi blinked and changed her question. Where is the cafeteria? Swish, swish, swish. The sound of potato peels being peeled was transmitted to the live stream through the sound recording device, comforting and healing. The girl's fingers were slender and fair, but they were very nimble. A potato was peeled clean in her hands in just a few seconds. There was already a pile of peeled potatoes in the plastic basin next to her. Li Jianyu asked, Sister Yi, are you going to cook lunch for these children? Xiangyi answered calmly, there's nothing else I can do. Her hands didn't stop moving. After peeling the potatoes, she went on to cut the meat. These ingredients were sent over by the people from Little Rabbit Farm. In the kitchen of the cafeteria, there were only 2 pieces of frozen meat in the freezer. According to Rong Huai, they could only eat a few pieces of minced meat occasionally. There was a strange school rule that said eating too much meat would affect one's IQ, and students were advised to be vegetarian. However, the vegetables weren't very fresh either. The potatoes had sprouted, and the greens were yellow and withered. It was hard to imagine that these growing children usually ate such things. Yin Jiangxue and Shang Guang rushed over when they heard that she was going to cook for the children. Washing, cutting, and frying vegetables. It was supposed to be a boring and tedious task, but because of the girl's calm and confident expression, it seemed incomparably beautiful. In the live stream, there was still a lot of controversy about Xiangyi. Are you kidding me? Why are you cooking at this time? Send the children home first. Is going home useful? Are they going to be sent to another aristocratic school by their parents to continue their transformation? Actually, I'm a little touched. Maybe humans are complicated creatures. Xiangyi has a bad side, such as causing Dr. Xiang's hand to be injured. But she also has a good side, such as helping the kids from C7 and the boys' high school this time. Come on, it's just cooking, and you're trying to clear your name? Did you forget how disgusting the B*TCH Xiang was in the video? I'm new here, I don't understand what you guys are arguing about. I just want to say that I'm King hungry from watching this lady cook with a shovel. In the school cafeteria, everyone had a big pot. The pot was big, and the shovel was also big. Basically, they used a shovel as a shovel. The shovel was heavy, and the ingredients were in a big pot. Even an adult would find it hard to control such a dish well. Some irresponsible chefs would be too lazy to cook. They would just add water and boil it before sprinkling some seasoning on it. At most, it could be considered cooked. It could be said that it was difficult to swallow. However, Xiangyi was seriously frying every dish in the pot. Her clean and milky white little face was covered in fine sweat. She didn't say a word and finished cooking 6 pots of dishes. At this time, the rice was ready. Let's get some food for the children first. I'll make seaweed and egg soup, Xiangyi said to Ronghuai, who had been watching for a long time. The corners of the thorny little wolf cub's mouth twitched. You want me to get food for them? Xiangyi didn't say anything and just stared straight at him. 1 second, 2 seconds. Ronghuai couldn't take it anymore. He looked away and whispered in a low voice. F***CK. Don't look at me like that. I get shy too. Chapter 206. Students from all over the school gathered in the cafeteria one after another. If it were any other school, it would be extremely noisy with hundreds of boys gathered together. But here, no one made a sound, and it was so quiet that even the sound of breathing could be heard clearly. No one spoke, and no one had any expression. They were all numb, mechanical, and zombie-like. It was unimaginably oppressive. They didn't even dare to imagine what kind of means the culprit had used to make them so obedient. However, when the window was opened, the rich aroma of food filled the air. Following their bodily functions, they subconsciously chased after the source of the aroma. Plate after plate of piping hot food was pushed out. Vegetarian 3 delicacies, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, stewed beef with potatoes, grilled eggplant with sliced meat, vinegar cabbage, fried pork liver with cucumber. They were all very common cafeteria dishes, but they exuded a rare domineering aroma. The most intuitive feeling was that they were hungry. The demon-like cooks had disappeared and were replaced by Ronghuai and a few of his close friends. The young man knocked the bowl with his spoon uncomfortably and said arrogantly, "It's time to eat. Get your own plates and line up." No one dared to move, for fear that it was a dream. The group of children stared at the food eagerly, looking like they wanted to eat but didn't dare to. They were like stray puppies who only dared to hide in dark and dirty corners and didn't even dare to approach the trash can. In the live stream, I'm getting old and I can't watch this anymore. I'm in tears. Hurry up and eat. Everyone has to eat 2 more bowls, okay? They've trained people to be more obedient than dogs. Their goal has been achieved. It's their victory, but it's the children's sorrow. Finally, someone was really craving for food and slowly took the first step to the window of the cafeteria. Ronghuai subconsciously tightened his grip on his spoon, feeling like the protagonist of a comic who had been given the important mission of saving the world. Which dish do you want to eat? His tone was fierce, but he was very generous with the rice. He scooped a large spoonful of each dish, for fear that the person who got the food wouldn't be full. After the first person, there was a second one. The line formed a long queue. The first child who got the food carefully stuffed it into his mouth, and his eyes instantly widened. Hot, cooked, and very tasty. Smell. He was stunned for more than 10 seconds before burying his head into the rice. As he ate, tears began to fall. More and more children joined in the food-eating camp. Everyone ate with great relish, as if this was some kind of precious delicacy in the world. At first, Li Jianyu was a little puzzled. He tasted the food. Although Sister Yi's cooking was good, there was not much room for her to show off. To be honest, the taste of these dishes was far worse than what she usually cooked. Xiang Li saw his doubts. He pushed his silver-rimmed glasses and said in a low voice, "The best seasoning in the world is hunger." In an instant, Li Jianyu suddenly understood why Xiang Yi wanted to cook for these children. Because he was really, really hungry. He turned his face away and blew his nose vigorously. F*ck these scumbags. After scooping the last bowl of soup, Rong Huai was so tired that he almost couldn't lift his arms. However, when he saw Xiang Yi coming over, he immediately straightened his back and pretended to be cool and aloof. In the next second, a fragrant meat bun was stuffed into his mouth, accompanied by a quiet and gentle voice. "Let's go eat." Chapter 207. Rong Huai was stunned for a moment before he mumbled, "Do you think I'll eat it just because you asked me to?" He subconsciously chewed on it. Xiang Yi smirked and said, "Spit it out then." Rong Huai turned around and said, "No. Oh. It smells so good. It smells so good. It smells so good. Pretty sister's culinary skills are amazing." Xiang Yi found a corner to sit down and rubbed her sore wrists. She was tired too, but she didn't want to express it. A tall figure suddenly appeared beside her. Xiang Yi turned around to see that it was Shi Sui. He was on the phone with someone. "Okay, send me a digital copy of the contract when it's settled." After hanging up, the man took out a packet of portable ointment. It was a small piece that was about the size of 2 Band-Aids put together. "Does your hand hurt?" "It's all right." As soon as Xiang Yi finished speaking, the man gently pulled her hand into his palm. It was clean and warm to the touch. She curled her slender fingers uncomfortably and wanted to retract them, but Shi Sui grabbed her wrist. "Don't move." Subconsciously, Xiang Yi stopped what she was doing. Rip, Shi Sui tore off the ointment and carefully applied it to the girl's wrists. Xiang Yi moved her cherry lips and said, "Actually, it doesn't hurt that much." "You're still trying to be brave?" Shi Sui's dark eyes landed on her face. He sighed helplessly and said, "You." Xiang Yi thought that he would scold her, but she didn't get the chance to do so. Instead, he rubbed her head forcefully twice. "Why are you so nice?" he asked. So nice that it made his heart ache. Xiang Yi whispered, "You made my hair bun collapse." Shi Sui couldn't help but laugh. "What should I do? I don't know how to tie my hair. Should I call your second brother for help?" "Don't." How would she dare to trouble her second brother for such a thing? While they were talking, Xiang Li happened to pass by. Shi Sui waved at him and explained the situation. Then, the knowledgeable medical doctor looked at his sister's bun that had collapsed and fell into a long silence. Xiang Li pondered for a while and suggested sincerely, "Have you ever thought of cutting your hair short?" Shi Sui sneered, "You don't know how?" Xiang Li sneered, "You know how to do it?" Of course they wouldn't. The two men, who didn't know how to tie their hair, childishly hurt each other. Xiang Yi said, "I'll do it myself. Don't worry, I'll find a tutorial to learn." Shi Sui calmly took out her phone and searched for videos. Xiang Li raised his eyebrows. In terms of learning ability, would he lose to Shi Sui? The two men were engrossed in the hair-tying tutorial, unable to extricate themselves. A moment later. Thank you, big sister, for cooking for us." A tall and thin boy looked at his toes and thanked her shyly. Xiang Yi recognized him. "It's you." It was the boy who went up to the rooftop. The boy said embarrassedly, "I'm sorry, I'm embarrassed." The teachers were right. I'm a useless and cowardly piece of trash. No. Xiang Yi's tone was firm. You're not a piece of trash, you're not useless. You might not even know what your talent is. You might not even know what your hobbies are. You might become a super powerful person in the future or develop a strong interest in a certain field. You're still very young and there are endless possibilities. There are too many beautiful things in this world that you haven't had the time to experience. Life is long and the pain you're going through now is just a short period of time in your life. Life is irreversible. It's irreversible. So no matter how difficult it is, you have to live on and live on peacefully. You're an independent individual. You are yourself and the meaning of your existence. Chapter 208. The boy listened quietly, and his dark eyes lit up. His family would only say, "We're doing this for your own good. We've sacrificed so much for you, yet you're letting us down. Are you worthy of us?" He had apologized countless times and even hated himself for it. He hated himself for not being a smart child, for not having a lively personality, and for not having a good EQ. Coming to Mingxi Boys High School was the beginning of hell. His body, personality, dignity, privacy, everything could be trampled underfoot. Trash, trash, coward, useless. These insulting words would be heard all the time. However, she said, "You're important. You have to live well. Your existence is meaningful." The boy couldn't help but sob. Seemingly panicking over his loss of composure, he rubbed his eyes with his hands, trying to hold back his tears, not daring to make a single sound. However, for some reason, the more he wiped, the more his tears fell. A teenage boy crying like this should have been a ridiculous scene, but at this moment, it somehow seemed sad and pitiful. Xiong Li was silent. In fact, he didn't quite understand human emotions. When it came to rationality and sensibility, rationality would always prevail. However, Xiong Li knew that his sister couldn't stand such things. She might seem distant, but she had a soft heart. He silently handed his sister a clean handkerchief. Xiong Yi froze for a moment before taking it. There seemed to be an invisible tacit understanding between the siblings. Even without words, they understood each other's feelings. Her brother wanted her to comfort others. Xiong Yi got up and gently patted the boy on the back. She said gently, "It's okay, you can cry." The boy couldn't hold it in any longer and burst into tears. It was as if he had been venting his emotions for a long time. It was more like he was relieved of a heavy burden. He covered his face with the handkerchief and cried his heart out. The camera captured this scene from afar. Although the guests had turned off their microphones and couldn't hear clearly, their body movements had the function of conveying words. It was the most primitive and direct expression of emotions. "Damn it, something went into my eyes. Sigh, it'll be fine if you just cry it out. You don't even dare to cry. It's so sad. How should I put it? The vase fairy may have a lot of bad points, but she also has a good side. When she's gentle, she can be quite piercing." Seeing that Xiong Yi was coaxing the boy, Rong Huai, who was not far away, gnawed on his sixth bun. "It's amazing that you can cry." When he was in kindergarten, he cried very fiercely and would even roll on the ground. Suddenly, there was movement at the door. There were cries, shouts, and hurried footsteps. It was his parents who had rushed over after hearing the news. Some parents who didn't know what was going on hugged their children, and the whole family burst into tears. They had only heard that the management here was strict, so they had spent a lot of money to send their children here. After the children had been brainwashed, they did not dare to say anything at home, so they did not know that the children had suffered so much. There were also parents who anxiously asked the police at the scene, "Why did they close such a good school? Where are our children going if they're locked up? Did you misunderstand? The principal and the teachers are doing this for the good of the children. Do you know that there is severe corporal punishment in this school? But our children's grades have improved and they've become obedient. If you close the school, what if they become rebellious again?" Chapter 209. You can't just find fault with the child. Parents have the responsibility to educate him too. We're so busy, how can we have the time to teach him? Please don't close the school. Upon hearing their conversation, Rong Huai's eyes were full of disgust and he was so angry that he ate another bun. What an annoying adult. However, he habitually looked around, only to find that his parents were nowhere to be seen. He paused in his chewing and returned to being a frivolous prick. It's all right. I don't need my parents that much anyway. The young man slowly ate one bun after another, as if he could fill the disappointment in his heart as long as he ate enough. A sharp-eyed parent saw Xiangyi and stepped forward to criticize her. Who told you to be a busybody? Do you think you're a judge who brought the production team here to uphold justice? Let me tell you, we don't need it at all. Now that the school is going to be closed, how are you going to compensate us for our losses? Xiangyi remained calm and waited for the other party to finish throwing a tantrum before saying leisurely, I forgot to tell you that this program is a live stream. Ah! She shrieked and cursed. Why didn't you say so earlier? The cameraman, old Zhang, deliberately moved the camera forward, scaring the other party so much that she quickly covered her face with her jacket. Old Zhang was speechless. You're so shameless, huh? I thought you weren't human. When it comes to sarcasm, you're still the boss. Shi Sui answered the phone, and after hanging up, he slowly adjusted his cuffs and asked Xiang Yi in a languid tone, Do you still lack a place to farm? Huh. I happen to have some spare cash, so I bought the land of this school. Shi Sui glanced at the parents and said, Since the school is mine, why don't you plow it and plant vegetables there? Or raise pigs? The black pig meat from last time was quite fragrant. Xiangyi was speechless. Buy land? To plant vegetables? Raise pigs? She thought about it for 2 seconds and actually felt quite happy about it. Why don't we build a little rabbit farm here? Xiang Li said gently, I'll contact the research institute and set up an experimental field for the newly cultivated Chinese medicine seeds here. With the endorsement of the research institute, this school could forget about opening. Xiangyi's eyes lit up. As expected of her brother. Amazing. The parent who was covering his face with his coat was dumbfounded. Buying land and collaborating with a research institute. Who on earth were these people? Those suspected of corporal punishment were all taken away for investigation. The students gathered at the school gate and watched as the school gate slowly closed. However, the expressions of many people were still incomparably ugly. They were worried that the gate would reopen one day. Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from afar. It was unknown who had shouted, F***CK. But in an instant, it became a series of exclamations. Construction trucks, demolition machines, excavators. Countless vehicles drove over and honked their horns. Do. At the front of the excavator, Si Chuanbai, who was dressed in a suit and leather shoes, was expressionless. He looked like his heart was as still as water. Shi Sui noticed him and smiled at him with her arms crossed. Si Chuanbai was speechless. He was a dignified manager. Not only was he ordered to buy land, but he also had to rent an excavator. It was too difficult. It was too difficult for him. Sheng Guang also drove over with his wife, Yin Zhongxue. The two of them were carrying a plaque that had just been written. The elegant and unrestrained semi-cursive handwriting was written, Little Rabbit Farm 2. Chapter 210. In the live stream, this is so exciting. F***CK, are they going to flatten the school? I've been holding it in for a long time, but I still can't help but cry. I just want to say that Sister E is awesome. Shi Sui is awesome. 2 under 1 roof is awesome. There were no insults in the pop-up comments at this moment, only support. When the first excavator knocked down the school wall, a loud noise suddenly broke out in the dusty scene. Cheers, roars, and applause formed a rhythm that made one's blood boil. Rong Huai had one hand in his pocket, and a smile slowly formed on his well-defined side profile. You guys were there to steal on purpose, weren't you? the girl's sweet and soft voice sounded. Rong Huai's body stiffened, and he pinched his ear uncomfortably. I'm not the kind of person to meddle in other people's business, the young man said stubbornly. Xiangyi glanced at him and said, stealing, live streaming, blowing things up, calling the police, and exposing them. That's your plan, right? Rong Huai's expression stiffened. How did she manage to guess the brilliant idea that the few of them had spent so much effort to come up with? The young man kicked a stone on the side of the road and said awkwardly, Are you trying to say that this plan is very childish? Well, we want to be more mature too. However, they didn't know what to do. This was already the best plan they could come up with. When they learned that there was a live-streamed variety show in the manor, they had never even watched it before, nor did they understand the influence of two under one roof. They rushed in recklessly without hesitation, not daring to cause too much damage. They even took a long time to mentally prepare themselves for the consequences of stealing a few eggs. After waiting for a few seconds, Rong Huai couldn't help but sneak a glance at her when she didn't answer. The girl's eyes met his, and her beautiful eyes curved into crescent moons. You guys did a good job. Thump, thump, thump. She's praising me. His heartbeat sped up like a drum. If there was a deer in his heart, he would have probably gotten a concussion. Rong Huai moved to her side, arched his thin back, and coughed twice. Come on. Ha. Rong Huai saw the look of confusion on her face and said angrily, That. His voice became softer and softer. You even patted that idiot's back. Why didn't you pat me? In the next second, the girl stood on her tiptoes and used her soft and fair hands to rub his head a few times, just like how Shui coaxed her. Rong Huai was dumbfounded. Being touched on the head, his heart was like fireworks, but he said proudly, You're so short. You have to stand on your tiptoes to touch my head. Xiangyi pursed her lips. Your hair is so prickly, like a porcupine. The young man's hair stood on end. What do you know? This is my hedgehog hairstyle. All right. At this time, Sheng Guang and Yin Zhongxue came over with the processed plaque. A slender wooden board was nailed onto the plaque. Yin Zhongxue said, Little Xiangyi, this is your farm. You should be the one to build it. Everyone turned to look at Xiangyi. Not far away, machines roared and buildings collapsed, causing dust to fly everywhere. It was like the ruins in a doomsday movie. The shadows of the trees swayed and cast a large shadow. The girl happened to be standing at the boundary between darkness and light, her gaze calm and gentle. At that moment, a sentence suddenly popped up in Rong Huai's mind. Everything has cracks, and she is the source of light. Chapter 2:11. Xiangyi blinked and said graciously, Okay. She took the simple plaque from Yin Zhongshue's hands. Her melancholy dissipated a little, and the haters in the live stream immediately appeared again. Are you kidding me? What's the point of doing this? Hurry up and punish the bad guys. Also, think about what to do with these students in the future. Why are you still so particular about rituals at a time like this? Sheng Guang really looks like a poor scholar. He might as well donate some money to the children instead of writing this. Rong Huai was thinking about helping Xiangyi dig a hole with a shovel, but before he could do so, he saw the girl pick a piece of soft soil and insert the plaque into the ground. She inserted it. Rong Huai. The netizens in the live stream? Although it's a muddy ground, how much strength do you have, little sister? From now on, this is no longer Ming Shi Boys High School. Xiangyi smiled at the children in the crowd. It's Little Rabbit Farm number 2. Some people in the crowd burst into tears while others cheered. All the children, regardless of whether they were happy or sad, finally had expressions on their faces. They were no longer zombie-like walking corpses. In the live stream, the haters were all rebuked. Xiangyi and Shui are not the police. How do you expect them to punish them? Some people are just holding on to their keyboards and blabbering. What else can they do? Did you cook at the scene? Did you shovel the school? If you didn't do anything, then shut up. Ritual is never a derogatory term. It's the most direct way for people to express their inner feelings. For children, the most important thing is not the closure of the school, but the reconstruction of their psychological beliefs. To a certain extent, Xiangyi's insertion of the Little Rabbit Farm plaque is a declaration of the end of these children's purgatory lives. It's equivalent to giving those who are bent on death a desire to live. This has a very positive meaning. The experts would be in charge of the follow-up work. Under everyone's gazes, Xiangyi calmly got on the tractor. Shi Sui and Xiang Li, who were as tall as male models, squeezed in beside her again. The girl protested softly, "You can sit at the back too," Shi Sui said calmly. "Your tractor doesn't even have a rear-view mirror." "I'll help you watch the road." Xiang Li scoffed. "You're trying to curry favor for no reason." Seeing that the two of them were about to quarrel, Xiangyi had no choice but to mediate. All right, let's go." "Hey," Rong Huayang raised his voice. You're leaving just like that? Aren't you going to say anything?" The staff of the program team were also looking forward to seeing what words Xiangyi would say to encourage the healing process. The girl pursed her lips and threw down a particularly ordinary sentence. "No matter what happens, you have to eat well." After saying that, he started the tractor and left. "Everyone. Oh, that's it? Gone?" Someone shouted. Big Sister's words have a deeper meaning. Only when one is full will the body have strength, the brain will be able to think, and the heart will have the will to resist. This way, no matter what difficulties we encounter, we will be able to overcome them. Godly comment in the live stream. Is that you, Chinese class representative? However, this interpretation undoubtedly lifted the spirits of the children. The haze over everyone's heads was dissipating bit by bit. Back at the manor, Xiangyi was worried that Xiao Naofu would be hungry and was about to make cat food for it when she heard Xiang Li suddenly say, "Tutu, my hand hurts." Hearing this, Shi Sui raised her long eyebrows. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.